together with the first Baghdad International Conference on Water Affairs. We are delighted to have you all here, and we are grateful for His Excellency, the Minister of Water Resources, and his team for the support they have given us and for their hard work to organize this important conference and for inviting us to make this contribution. I would like to begin by reminding you all that there are practical reasons for choosing to talk about bilateral cooperation between Iraq and the Netherlands in this important sector. Certainly, water and agriculture represent a high priority for our government. And Netherlands is one of the few countries around the world that is known for its expertise in both sectors. It's not without basis that the Dutch says that if you have too much or too little water, call the Dutch. They have also perfected the various items that are needed to develop the agricultural sector. And the fact that Netherlands, with its small area and having only 500,000 or so individuals working in the agricultural sector, they are now the second country in the world in terms of exports of agricultural products after the United States. In the past 3 years since I arrived to The Hague in February 2018, we have been working hard together with the relevant Dutch institutions at the government level, at the knowledge institutions level, think tanks, as well as the business and private sector, to identify opportunities for both countries to work on and to help us achieve one of the important priorities in Iraq, which is to have a reliable integrated system to manage our water resources and also to develop our agricultural sector. I would briefly refer to some of the important projects that are in line with this important priority for both governments, and hopefully His Excellency the Minister and the Ambassador and other contributors to this event will elaborate more and give us the full picture on bilateral cooperation between the two sides. One of the important projects that the Iraqi and Dutch institutions have been working on is related to updating the integrated strategy for management of land and water resources in Iraq. The initial draft was prepared in 2014, and the various institutions in the Netherlands, in particular IHE Delft, have worked with our ministry to develop the strategy and to support the implementation process. This is very important and certainly represent a high priority for the ministry as well as the government as a whole and the different provinces in Iraq. They have made valuable contribution when it comes to taking into account the new challenges that the ministry is facing, as well as contributing to capacity building to ensure that we have effective implementation of this important strategy. This work obviously needs to continue, and we look forward to coordinating with our relevant institutions as well as with the Dutch institutions when it comes to this important project. IHE, in addition to other institutions, including Clinendale Institute, the Hague Center for Strategic Studies, the Wageningen universities, have also made valuable contributions when it comes to capacity building and training of not only the staff at the Ministry of Water Resources, but also at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in addition to some other institutions. There has been several workshops, training courses, and also field visits that have helped enormously when it comes to equipping our members of staff with the necessary knowledge and expertise they need in order to fulfill their roles. In addition to that, we have discussed in details and have agreed the outline of a special program that will focus on issues related to water diplomacy. As you know, one of the challenges we face in Iraq is related to water scarcity and also pollution of the available resources. And with the increased population and the climate changes and the need to provide the necessary resources in order to develop our agricultural sector and maintain the important Iraqi marshlands, we need to be, our members of staff need to be prepared when it comes to various issues related to transboundary water affairs. There are, as you know, ongoing discussions between the Iraqi authorities and our neighbors, in particular Turkey and Iran. We welcome the contribution made by the various Dutch institutions as well as other international institutions when it comes to supporting our teams, national teams, and making a positive contribution through hopefully trilateral discussions that would help to reach a framework of effective partnership and cooperation to ensure equitable and reasonable distribution of the water resources and to share information that would help us to be more effective in using the available water resources. The other area which is of importance is related to water peace and security program. We have worked over the past few months with the members of the Water Peace and Security Initiative, mainly based at IHE Delft, the Hague Center for Strategic Studies, and Clinandale, together with our own institutions at the national and provincial levels, to agree on the details of the work plan for the team in Iraq. I'm glad to report that we have now a final draft that represent a very good work plan for the team in Iraq that will cover the period from 2021 until 24. There are some funding available and resources that would help also to implement the program. The program has various entities and components to it, and I will leave the details to our colleague from the IHE Delft, Associate Professor Susan Schmeier, who will tell us more about their work plan in Iraq for during the next few years. This work, in my view, is very important, and I'm glad also to share with you that His Excellency the Minister and his team also look at the Water Peace Security Initiative and their work plan in Iraq as a priority, and they will be supporting the team to ensure that the various projects are implemented in different parts of Iraq. We look forward, obviously, to having representatives from the relevant provinces when it comes to the discussions on equitable uses of use of water resources and to address the big challenge of water pollution, especially in the southern part of Iraq. We are also interested to work together to hopefully establish the Iraqi-Dutch Council for Water and Agriculture. We would learn from the experience that Netherlands had with other countries, including, for example, Egypt. They have been working together in the past 4 decades, and there has been very good positive developments when it comes to addressing the major challenges that Egypt has faced in those 2 important sectors. And we are keen, obviously, to benefit from Dutch expertise when it comes to developing our agricultural sector and to be more effective in implementing an integrated strategy for the land resources, land and water resources. We are in the process of organizing an important visit by His Excellency, the Minister of Water Resources, and his team. This will complement the visit by the former ministers of water and agriculture in June 2019, when we organized several events, including an important conference at Wageningen University, in addition to a couple of seminars with the other knowledge institutions, as well as the important businesses at Deltares and at the Horticulture Center, World Horticulture Center. We do hope that His Excellency would be able to come and visit the Netherlands in the coming months after we control this pandemic and the travel restrictions will be eased. The visit will provide His Excellency and his team to engage directly with the relevant ministries, but also with the knowledge institutions and the relevant think tanks, as well as the businesses and the private companies that have either worked in Iraq or expressed an interest to work in Iraq. We do hope that the visit will also be used in order to agree on the details of establishing the Iraqi-Dutch Council for Water and Agriculture, and this will be an important signal to indicate the interest of both countries to enhance partnership and cooperation in these two important sectors. I would stop here and ask His Excellency to share with us his views on his priorities, the priorities of the Iraqi government in general, and also his vision when it comes to working together to establish this important Iraqi-Dutch Council for Water and Agriculture Affairs. Your Excellency, the Minister. مع الوزير تسمعني؟
شكرا جزيلا سعادة السفير، وشكرا لجهودك وحقيقة دعمك المستمر فيما يخص عمل وزارة الموارد المائية، وهذا ليس بجديد على جنابك، أنت دومك سباق في هذا الدعم. حقيقة كل اللي تفضلت به هو أمور جدا مهمة يجب أن نعمل عليها. هدفنا الأساسي في تطوير التعاون مع الجانب الهولندي لخبرتهم الطويلة في مجال إدارة الموارد المائية. نحن بأمس الحاجة إلى بناء القدرات، إعادة بناء القدرات، هذا موضوع جدا مهم. نحن بحاجة قوية إلى زيادة الوعي لجميع مستخدمي المياه. الحاجة مستمرة لتوضيح أهمية هذه النعمة وعدم الاستخفاف بها. حقيقة نلاحظ منذ فترة ليس بقليلة هناك عدم اهتمام، على اعتبار أن هذا الموضوع متاح، على الرغم من أن الوزارة من خلال مراكزها البحثية تستشعر خطر ندرة المياه في المستقبل، وهو هذا السبب الأساسي اللي دعانا لتنظيم هذا المؤتمر، حتى يكون للعالم كله موقف يساعد العراق في هذا الموضوع ويساعد المنطقة بشكل كبير. فبالتأكيد سعادة السفير التعاون إن شاء الله سيكون مع الجانب الهولندي. جنابك بذلت جهد كبير، ولكن تعرف حضرتك للأسف جائحة كورونا قيدت الجميع في الحركة. كان من المفروض أنه من قبل أكثر من 6 أشهر نكون في هولندا ونعمل على تنمية أو تطوير هذا التعاون والعلاقة، ولكن يجب علينا أيضا أن نعود إلى حالة مهمة، أن جائحة كورونا يجب أن لا تكون سبب في تأخير التواصل. وتجربتنا في إعداد المؤتمر حقيقة كانت إن شاء الله ناجحة، فبالتأكيد يجب أن نعيش ونتعايش مع موضوع كورونا سواء تحققت الزيارة أو لم تتحقق. فيجب أن نأخذ البدائل في هذا الموضوع على أن نضمن استمرار هذا التعاون ما بين حقيقة جانبين. الجانب الهولندي لدينا أكثر من وجهة تعامل حتكون معهم، حضرتك على علم بها. موضوع تحديث الدراسة الاستراتيجية واحدة من هاي الأمور اللي إن شاء الله راح تتبنى الوزارة التكاليف التي تم يعني خلينا نقول تخصيصها والاتفاق مع الجانب الهولندي عليها. الوزارة راح تتبنى الجزء الذي يخصها، والجانب الهولندي مشكورا راح يساهم في الجزء الآخر، لأنه نعتقد ضرورة تحديث هذه الدراسة. موضوع جدا مهم حقيقة. احنا بالتأكيد الجانب الهولندي لديه الخبرة الكبيرة في هذه الأمور. حقيقة هذا ما يحضرني حاليا سعادة السفير، وإن شاء الله نحن معكم في هذا السيشن مع أي تحديث لكافة الأمور. شكرا سعادة السفير.
مع الوزير، إذا ممكن بدقائق قليلة أيضا تحكي لنا على رؤيتكم لأهمية إنشاء المجلس أو المركز أو اللجنة الثنائية العراقية الهولندية للمياه والزراعة.
بالتأكيد منذ فترة ليس بقليلة نبحث عن إنشاء هذا المركز أو هذا التعاون ما بيننا وما بين الجانب الهولندي، لأنه يمكن إحنا العراق من القلائل اللي ما عندهم هذا، يعني كانوا بعيدين عن هذا التعاون. كنا نبحث عنه حقيقة منذ فترة ليس بقليلة. الجانب الهولندي لديه خبرات كبيرة، لذلك نعتقد أن التعاون في هذا المجال سوف يثمر عن تغيرات كبيرة في إدارة الموارد المائية بعد أن نكتسب الخبرة والتقنيات الحديثة التي حقيقة الجانب الهولندي يتمتع بها. وبالتأكيد هي هذه واحدة من الأمور الأساسية اللي نبحث عنها منذ فترة ليس بقليلة. فرؤيتنا لهذا الموضوع أنه ضرورة أن نكون يجب أن نتواصل مع الجميع، وخاصة الجانب الهولندي لخبرتهم الطويلة في هذه المجال.
شكرا جزيلا.
لا هو داخل.
Ambassador, can you hear me now?
Yes, now we can.
I'm sorry for that interruption. The IT guy was trying to see whether we could set up the other laptop. It gives me great pleasure to ask my dear colleague and good friend, His Excellency Ambassador Michel Rentena, the Dutch ambassador to Baghdad, to share with us his views on the current and future projects that we have been working on in order to enhance bilateral cooperation between Iraq and the Netherlands.
Thank you very, very much. First of all, of course, please allow me to congratulate the Minister of Water Resources Hamdani, on organizing this very first Baghdad International Water Conference. Needless to say, we are very proud that His Excellency, the Minister, is in fact an alumnus of our very own Institute for Water Education in Delft. And we hope to welcome His Excellency as soon as the COVID regulations permit to come to the Netherlands and to discuss further on this water cooperation. Also, very much thanks to my esteemed colleague, His Excellency Ambassador Hisham Al-Alawi, for hosting this session. I think Ambassador Alawi has proven to be an ardent supporter of the water collaboration between our countries. In fact, he is an ardent supporter of all cooperation between our two countries. You cannot escape the internet, or he is active every day on some issue to build the bridges between our two countries. And I very much appreciate that kind of effort. Even before I was officially instated into Iraq, he organized in his residency in The Hague a joint discussion on Dutch water specialist cooperation in Iraq. So Ambassador Alawi is always on the ball when it concerns water cooperation between the Netherlands and Iraq. And I think he's very, very right. This conference, of course, is a kind of a landmark event for Iraq. As His Excellency the Minister said during the opening ceremony, it will be an annual event, and I really hope that it will foster a community that intensely cooperates on water-related issues with the Netherlands and within Iraq. It's also, of course, great importance for local Iraqi organizations to be actively involved in these efforts. But let me take 1 second to really highlight a little bit why we're actually doing all of this. For us, the Netherlands, actually Iraq is a country of 40 million people at the doorstep of Europe. We consider Iraq to be our neighbors. So if it goes well in Iraq, if there is stability in Iraq, that's good for us too. And that's the basis, I think, of all this cooperation between Iraq and the Netherlands. Iraq, of course, has a very young population. About 700,000 young people come to the labor market every year, again and again, which is something that we all need to be concerned about, that they get jobs and that they get hope for the future and prospects, because otherwise that's not good for stability. And the link for us very much is that agriculture and water are two sectors where that is exactly possible. And we feel that we as the Netherlands have something to offer. Everyone knows the story of us in the Netherlands living below the water level, and Mr. Hansje Brinker with his finger in the dike, that's very famous. So we have a lot of knowledge in terms of water. And as Ambassador Alawi said, we're also the second largest agriculture exporter in the world. For a small country, that's something that we're rather proud of. So it's those two sectors, let's say, where we feel that there is a huge potential, both to do cooperation, to share our knowledge, our expertise, and to benefit both from that cooperation, to share also the possibility to actually make that a motor for the diversification of the non-oil economy part of the Iraqi economy. So obviously the challenges are big. There's a lot of water challenges in Iraq. You have some challenges with your neighbors, Iran and Iraq, over shared water resources. There is challenges between up and downstream areas with regard to water quantity and quality. There's the challenge of salinization in the south and challenges with regard to water use in different sectors like agriculture, industry, and the oil and gas sector. So, and not all of it is going that well. I mean, climate change is hitting all of us in the world, of course, but it's also hitting Iraq. But there's also the population growth. So where Iraq used to be a country a couple of decades ago with an abundance of water, that's no longer the case. So we need to be cleverer. We need to be smarter. We need to, as Ambassador Alawi say, if there's not enough water, call the Dutch. So this is something that we're good at, and we try to be of help. If I could just focus on a few things that were mentioned already by others as well, but we can drill a little deeper, and of course our colleagues on the screen will elaborate also more. The 5 that I just want to highlight out of our cooperation are something rather big that we're starting in Basra, improving the drinking water quality and quantity. And we've recently started investing $6 million US in a project executed by UNICEF and UNDP to improve the quality of drinking water there. Its supply and management in that region. And the program will run from 22 to 23 and will cover hopefully almost 1 million people. Then another one that also Ambassador Alawi mentioned, improving transboundary water cooperation. I was very happy to see in the news that both the Iranian and the Turkish ambassadors yesterday in the conference said that they would be willing to look into that cooperation. And our hand is very ready. We have a lot of international cooperation, experience in international discussions on water cooperation across the borders. So we're really like to investigate where this could be possible to lend that hand even more so. Another one, which is also an important one for us, is the capacity building of the staff of the ministry. We're organizing support on various projects directed at the capacity building of Iraqi water specialists and mainly staff members of the Ministry of Water Resources. But all of our colleagues on screen can add a little bit to that. And as I said, a very important one for us is trying to strengthen the nexus between agriculture and water. We feel that the part of the solution for creating jobs is lying there. So we'd like to create a water program that complements existing projects in Iraq with the focus on water management related to the horticulture sector. And one of the existing projects by the Netherlands, funded by the Netherlands, is so-called WAPOR. It's a database designed and managed by FAO, which contains spatial information on water productivity and water consumption, crop yield, and weather conditions for countries in Africa and the Near East. But now it's also being expanded to Iraq, and we think this is something that can really do well. Obviously, also, we are part of the donor coordination group on agriculture and water. In fact, we're chairing that. We're one of the two co-chairs together with the FAO. And its aim is to obtain more clarity on a vision for a viable agriculture sector in Iraq with clear attention to water as a limiting factor. So the Netherlands will fund the recruitment of a national and international consultant to support the design and development of an agriculture and water investment plan for Iraq. But there are, of course, many more Dutch initiatives in Iraq, and I look forward to hearing more about them from our Dutch partners present here today. Please allow me to finish with one thing of more international carrying. In one of my previous jobs, I was the climate ambassador for the Netherlands, and I negotiated the Paris Climate Treaty. So I know how important it is to join efforts globally to foster sustainable development and peace. And the Netherlands is the party to two conventions that are very relevant in this framework. The Convention on the Protection and Use of Transboundary Water Courses and International Lakes. It's called commonly known as the UN Water Convention. And we welcome very much the progress made by Iraq towards accession to these two water conventions. And we really hope that perhaps this water conference, the last 2 days in Baghdad, can be that last push and create that opportunity for concretely advancing those transboundary water cooperation and achieve, in fact, the Sustainable Development Goal number 6 to ensure access to water and sanitation for all, because it offers a legal framework and an institutional platform and various tools supporting that transboundary water cooperation challenges such as climate change. So we hope very much to welcome Iraq soon as a real party in the community of the Water Convention, which we feel could contribute to a positive dynamic in the region. I look forward to hearing from our colleagues on screen, and I thank you very much for participating in this event. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for sharing your views with us, and thank you also for your nice words. I look forward to continuing working with you and with your team in Baghdad, together with our colleagues here in the Netherlands. It also gives me great pleasure to ask my dear colleague here, Dr. Suzanne Schmeirer, from the IHE Delft, who has been a leading figure when it comes to preparing the work plan for the Water Peace Security Initiative in Iraq. Dr. Shmail.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I'm assuming that you can see my screen. That's always the big challenge in these online conferences. And it really is a shame that from the Water, Peace and Security Partnership, we're unfortunately not be able to be in Baghdad with many of you there. But still, I'm very happy that we're invited to participate in the conference. And that we're allowed to present the work that we plan or that we have started on the Water, Peace and Security Partnership. The Water, Peace and Security Partnership is a partnership that is funded by the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs and that is implemented in close collaboration with the Iraqi Ministry of Water Resources and supported by the Iraqi embassy here in the Netherlands. And it brings together a number of knowledge institutes from the water as well as from the peace building side that try to jointly work on turning vicious cycles that we see between unsustainable water management, social instability, competition over resources and conflict into virtuous cycles that combine effective water management, cooperation among the different water users, ultimately leading to stability and peace. The work that the Water, Peace and Security Partnership does consists of some global work that I do not want to go into detail. I would just like to highlight our quarterly update in which we present every 3 months the hotspots around the world that are at particular risk of experiencing water-related conflict. But I would rather focus on the more local work that we implement in a number of countries worldwide, and that we're now starting in Iraq as well. And this local work focuses on analyzing through different tools that we've developed, both water resources modeling tools and agent-based, more human response modeling tools, the link between water insecurity, and that can be increasing floods, that can be increasing droughts, that can be development projects upstream, dams, irrigation schemes, and so on, and their respective impact on human livelihoods, as well as on conflict or cooperation, with the aim, as I was saying, to ensure that water resource management decisions that are being taken in a country or in provinces or even at the basin level contribute to peace and sustainable development instead of conflict. This local work that we're implementing consists of a number of different tools, starting, and that's what we're starting in Iraq now, a very comprehensive analysis of the local water resources situation on the ground, understanding what the current resource availability is, how that is changing right now due to current developments, but also analyzing how it will change in the future under different scenarios. And that can be anything from climate change to future infrastructure development plans in Iraq, as well as in other countries. And the work that we're starting to implement now with the help of the Iraqi embassy here in the Netherlands, as well as the Ministry of Water Resources in Iraq, but also supported by the Dutch embassy in Iraq, consists of a number of packages, I can say, starting with really thoroughly understanding the interprovincial, and I'll say a word about that in a bit, the interprovincial dynamics in Iraq. So looking into how is water being used in different provinces? How does that affect the provinces? How does that affect the water users in the provinces? And how does that link between water-related challenges on the one hand and peace and stability on the other hand look at the national level, but also at the interprovincial level? We combine this in the Water, Peace and Security Partnership always in an integrated approach. So that's always combined with capacity development, awareness raising, and dialogue support. In the current phase that is starting now and will go on until the end of 2024, We're focusing on 4 specific governorates, and you can see them on the map here, marked in dark blue. It is the 4 most southern, including Basra, and Basra has been mentioned quite a bit already by both His Excellency, the Ambassador to the Netherlands, but also the Minister of Water Resources. And the aim, as I was saying, is really to investigate how we can make sure that the way water resources are being used and will be used in the future contribute to peace and stability instead of instability and insecurity. I would just, as a last slide, like to say a little bit more specifically about our next steps. We're currently in the process of organizing kickoff meetings that will really get our work going. And we've done that already in the last months, and we'll be continuing until the end of the month with more high-level meetings, which set the path to a more in-depth analysis of the different provinces, the different water users in the provinces, the relations between different thematic priorities. And you can imagine as thematic priorities, topics such as water quality, water quantity, pollution, the use of water for agricultural development, for the oil industry, and so on. All that feeding into a comprehensive local water system analysis that allows us to reflect the current water situation at the provincial and the interprovincial level. And that provides then the basis for, in more detail, analyzing the human responses. So to understanding what impact will a certain water resources use in a certain province have on the livelihoods of people in that same province, as well as in other provinces. And that again provides the basis for taking smart, conflict-sensitive decisions in the future, ensuring the overall sustainable, but also peaceful water governance in Iraq. And very specifically, the next steps will be 2 training workshops for representatives of the Ministry of Water Resources, as well as the heads of governorates, or the people responsible for water management in the governorates, as well as 2 modeling workshops, all to be implemented this year still, and then followed by additional workshops in the next years. And with that, I do not want to take any more of your time, Your Excellencies. Thank you very much. We're always ready for questions and concerns that you might have. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Schmeier, for this very useful and informative short overview. As we could see that the work plan for the Water Peace Security Initiative consists of various very important projects, and we look forward to continuing with you and with our colleagues back home to implement those projects. With your permission, if I may ask first Eric, before asking Dr. Louis Fanchek to also share with us his some information on Nectara's current and future projects in Iraq. As I said, one of the important things in the Netherlands is this coordinated partnership and work between government, knowledge, and business institutions. So we are delighted to have a representative from Nectara company who have done various work on projects in Iraq to share with us his views on the current and future projects in Iraq. Eric.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you well.
Excellent, thank you. So Nectara is originally a water consulting company and also currently putting the focus on sustainable commercial agriculture, especially climate smart agriculture. So in this project, what we're currently running, funded by NAFIC, we work together with Wageningen University and IHE Water. I believe Karar will tell a bit about Wageningen University shortly, so he's also involved. On the Iraqi side, we're working with Saladin University, University of Basra, Kirkuk, Kerbala, Mizan, and Suleimani, the Ministry of Agriculture and Water Resources in Kurdistan, and at the Iraqi Ministry of Water Resources and Ministry of Agriculture. Our main focus for this project is work on climate smart agriculture, making it practically viable and commercially applicable for local farmers, both smallholders and larger farmers. What we have seen in the world over the last couple of years, that there has become an interest in new ways of farming, well, the tendency was toward large-scale monocultural farming, where there was heavy interest in the inputs, fertilizer, chemicals, and larger. We now see all over the world small initiatives popping up in syntropic farming, restoration agriculture, conservation agriculture, agroforestry, you name it. Wageningen University is one of the universities that's doing research in this new sustainable ways of climate smart farming. And together we try to implement demo farms, training locations, practical on-farm situation in Iraqi, both in Erbil and Basra, and potentially also in Kirkuk and Kerbala or Suleimani, where we can showcase and train and teach Iraqi students on new approaches on sustainable farming, where we put the emphasis on low input farming, climate smart farming, water saving farming, but always make sure there's a financial viability to it also for the commercial farmers. So it potentially can be upscaled to large scale farmers. And one of the key elements which is essential for this type of farming is the planting of trees. This is crucial to create watershed restoration and enhance water infiltration. This is especially relevant in the northern regions of Iraq, where the water management is influenced, of course, the southern region of Iraq, where the water will end up at the end of the year or at the end of the water cycle. Trees on farm also improve microclimate, improve soil restoration, and of course are essential in climate mitigation. And we want to show Iraq that the planting of trees can be financially viable and doesn't cost you money, but makes you money. So that's in short our focus. The next practical training we will do will be in Erbil and Basra next month. We just yet have to pinpoint the date, but we're not sure how we go around the Ramadan, which is starting up soon. So I hope this gives a short idea about what we're working on in Iraq, and we hope that we can be the pebble in the pond which changes agriculture towards more sustainable, climate smart, financially viable agriculture.
Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing those important information about the various projects that you are working on and would be interested in. It gives me now great pleasure to ask my good friend, Dr. Louis Tanseh from the Clinton Institute, to also give us an update on future projects of the Planetary Security Initiative in Iraq. We are obviously grateful for the team at the Planetary Security Initiative, who in December 2017 put Article 6 as part of the Hague Declaration that called upon various countries to work together to support implementing sustainable strategies for water management in Iraq. And we are grateful for her to be with us and ask her to tell us more about the various projects of the Planetary Security Initiative team and the team that she leads at the Clindale Institute, which is one of the important think tanks in the world that ranks around 25 around the world, top 10 in Europe, and one of the most important in the Netherlands. Louise.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, Your Excellencies, Minister Mahdi Rashid Al Hamdani, and also you, Ambassador Hisham Al Alawi, for inviting me to speak. And also big congratulations for organizing the first Baghdad International Water Conference. I really hope many more will follow and that it will also help to address the many pressing water issues in your country. At the Netherlands Institute of International Relations Klingendaal, we indeed help the Water, Peace and Security program that was just introduced by Susanne, and we help them to translate their work to actors working on the ground in Iraq and also to analyze how the outcomes of the data analysis link to political realities, power structures and socio-economic contexts on the ground. And in this respect, we also build upon our efforts of the Planetary Security Initiative. This is an initiative that is led by the Klingendael Institute and aims to reduce security risks related to climate change and related resource scarcities, including these of water, land, food, and energy. Or rather, we don't want to focus only on the risks. We also want to consider how dialogue over such scarce resources, better management and distribution, as well as climate adaptation and renewable energy provision can help to foster peace and stability. For instance, because it creates jobs, reduces frustration over limited water and energy access, and makes people cooperate instead of oppose each other. For Iraq, we realize
Mrs.
very
Louise,
much.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but we have some technical issues. Could you please just wait a second?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, just wait a second. Yes, if you could please just repeat the last minutes of your speech and you can proceed. Thank you. And sorry for the inconvenience.
Oh, it's okay. So what we hope to achieve with the Planetary Security Initiative is that we can consider how dialogue over scarce natural resources such as water, better management and distribution, as well as climate adaptation and renewable energy provision can help to foster peace and stability. For instance, because such projects create jobs, reduce frustration over limited water and energy access, and makes people cooperate instead of oppose each other. For Iraq, we realize very much that water is the biggest challenge of today, but climate change is perhaps the newest enemy and one that is a common threat to all groups and all countries in the region. Iraq was a so-called spotlight country of the initiative since 2017, when the water minister Hassan Janabi also attended the Planetary Security Conference in The Hague. Iraq was included in several sessions, publications, the Hague Declaration, the ambassador already referred to it, but also website items, and most recently was covered in webinars that are viewed by many. Most of the work on Iraq is carried out by my colleagues, Tobias van Lossau, who is a really well acknowledged expert in this field, and also Maha Yassin, who is actually from Basra and works with us on the Iraq activities and the Planetary Security Initiative as such. Since 2020, we focus at the south of Iraq with our training programs for journalists and also dialogue sessions with representatives of civil society, local government and UN agencies working on pollution, water scarcity or greening the land, such as through the planting of date trees that my Dutch colleague already referred to, which is so important. Some of the articles written by journalists you may have noticed in Iraqi media already. And in May or June, we hope to bring our friends from Iraqi civil society and government together in a real life or hybrid meeting in Basra or Baghdad, with the help of the Netherlands ambassador, Michel Rentenaar. Our aim is to raise awareness on the climate security relationship and connect those not automatically talking to each other in order to build resilience against climate change and bolster trust and cooperation. In short, we realize the strong transboundary nature of the water problems of Iraq and how water is both a threat to security, but also a potential entry point for more cooperation. And we hope to make a small contribution to foster this cooperation. So thank you, Your Excellencies, for the opportunity to present our work. Please take a look at the Planetary Security website. And we also look forward to our future collaboration, among others, through our contribution to the Water, Peace and Security Partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Luis, for your contribution. Thank you also for your partnership, for the great work that you and your colleagues have done at the Klingendael Institute over the past 3 years. We look forward to continuing working together and implementing those important projects that you referred to. Last but not least, I'm glad to have Dr. Karar Mahdi. Karar, together with Maha Yassin, are some of the good examples that we have Iraqi graduates that benefited from the opportunities that are here, available here in the various Dutch institutions, knowledge institutions. Karar did his PhD at Wageningen, one of the top universities when it comes to research in the agriculture and water sectors. And he is now he has been working with them since 2019 as the Iraq Liaison and Cooperation Officer, and he will give us an update on the various projects that Wageningen University have done together with Iraqi universities and other entities.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Can I share my presentation and then like to show some of the results that, yes, I see my presentation. Yes. So thanks a lot, Your Excellency, again, and thanks also for معالي السيد وزير الموارد المائية والسيادة وزارة الموارد المائية دعوتنا للحضور للمؤتمر. سعيدين اليوم لتقديم يعني review. I better to switch to English than I can focus between Arabic and English. I want to give a review about the cooperation between Wageningen University and Iraq. And also what the opportunities that Wageningen can provide in water and agriculture sector, and what has been done in these, let's say, these recent 3-4 years ago. So so Wageningen University has and research has a strong position globally in research and education. For instance, in agriculture is regarded #1 in QS university ranking in agriculture and forestry, and also #4 in environmental science. The focus in Wageningen University is focused mostly on water and agriculture and food protection, which the main topics that are urgently needed now to be tackled in
Mr. Karar, we can't hear you. Please check your voice settings. Mr. Karar, we can't hear you. Please check your voice settings. Mr. Karar, please, we can't hear you. Please check your voice settings. We only see your share screen. We can't hear you.
In 2018, also a group of Wageningen, group of staff, they also visited and supported sent by the Dutch government to make a report about the agriculture and water situation in Iraq. Yes, I did it. Yes. One of the biggest practical steps that happened in 2019, a big conference was organized in Wageningen University, and at that conference, the first LOI, letter of intent, was signed between Wageningen University and Ministry of Agriculture. Also, the Minister of Water Resources and a group of important stakeholders from Iraq and the Netherlands also joined that meeting. And that meeting was hosted by the Iraqi embassy in the Netherlands and Wageningen University. And the LOI is focusing on training and support and consultancy to Iraq, especially to Minister of Agriculture. After that, Wageningen received many interest from different ministries and universities, and several visits to the university. And the first project started led by Wageningen, which is in 2019. The project is funded by NOFIC, and the project is with 6 universities. The project is efficient water management in Iraq by switching to climate smart agriculture, which is capacity building and knowledge development. Although the project is working mainly with the 6 universities, but the end user will be the ministries of water resources and agriculture by providing training and capacity building for the expert in different topics like rainwater harvesting, agrohydrology, water accounting, water productivity. The project is started as mentioned in 2019, and due to the corona we shifted all the training to online, but we have very good successfulness in 2020. Although the project providing capacity building only, but mainly focusing on capacity building, but also working on improving policies that ensure better water management in the country, and also improve partnership and entrepreneurship and gender diversity in water and agriculture sectors. The second project that also Wageningen involved, what my colleague Eric mentioned, which is modern and climate smart farming and water management for selected supply chains in Iraq. And my colleagues now in Wageningen, they are developing a very nice program for Iraqi experts to be implemented in this year. In addition to that, Wageningen involved in many projects that you can find in the Wageningen website, and we have a project in many countries, as I mentioned, and we have examples and reports for all these projects in our website. We think that various tools that are available in Wageningen and that can be used in Iraq effectively to improve water management and agriculture with cooperation with ministries and all important stakeholders in Iraq. Thank you a lot.
Thank you very much, Karar, for this for your contribution. We have a few minutes for any comments or questions if there are. Can you hear me now? Ambassador Antina, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but I didn't hear any question. Was there a question?
Hello, Ambassador, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I just said that we have a few minutes left. If there are any comments or questions to the various contributors, maybe we could start with His Excellency the Minister or yourself.
أكو أسئلة؟ أحد عنده سؤال؟ مداخلة؟
I would suggest we let the participants ask questions.
Yes, if there are any. الموجودين في القاعة في بغداد، هل هناك أي مداخلات أو أسئلة؟
شكرا سعادة السفير.
تفضل عزيزي، أكو أسئلة أو مداخلات؟
if there are no comments or questions, we could maybe conclude this session. Thank you very much to all the contributors. شكرا معالي الوزير لحضوركم ومساهمتكم معنا. شكرا لدعمكم ودعم فريقكم في الوزارة لنا، وإن شاء الله نستمر نتعاون معا في تنفيذ هذه البرامج المختلفة بما فيه خير ومن مصلحة العراق، وبما يساهم في تعزيز التعاون بين البلدين في هذين القطاعين المهمين المياه والزراعة. أسأل الله أن يوفقنا جميعا إلى مهامنا بأفضل ما يكون، وأن نستمر في تعاوننا لتحقيق هذه الأولويات المهمة للوزارة والحكومة بما فيه خير العراق والعراقيين. Thank you again, Ambassador and the team here, for your hard work, for your partnership, for your contribution also to this side event. We look forward to continue working with you and implementing the important projects that we have talked about. Thank you, and God bless you all.